Hello and good afternoon everyone on LinkedIn. We've been deep diving into depth cameras, depth sensors, volumetric capture, active infrared dot matrix displays. The main reason for this obviously is we're looking toward the future of computer vision, robotics, drone, environmental awareness, and visual intelligence. What I'm using here is just the front infrared flood emitter on the Apple iPhone XS Max. This is the Microsoft HoloLens, the computer vision here I wanted to showcase to you. But real briefly, what we're going to do is actually go through an application here for the iPad Pro and the Occipital structure sensor that allows us to 3D map a complete environment just using your iPad, and an application called the Skanect Pro. Let's get started. Hello again, and here we go. This is Skanect Pro wirelessly streaming NVIDIA 1080 Ti 3584 CUDA cores over 10.0 over my 5G network to my iPad Pro. And I haven't started recording yet, but I just wanted you to see this depth and color overlay via the infrared flood emitter on the front. That's an active dot matrix. So let's go ahead and get started with the record function. So we're going to go ahead and record this. I'll go very, very slowly over this process. You got to go very slowly, otherwise it'll let you know, listen, you've gone a little bit too quick, please reinitialize your pose estimate. So I'm just scanning the information right in front of me, which is one of my desktop laptops set up. And you can kind of see the infrared flashing into the camera. That's always a cool thing to see. And it's around 30 to 35 frames per second, okay? And again, you can do this in an entire area, in a room, or even small objects. So let's go ahead and press stop on that. So you can see, I'm going to keep kind of pushing this around a little bit, but on this side, you can kind of move around this model, right? But we haven't even reconstructed or processed it yet. So what we want to do now is go into this reconstruct phase, which we're going to run this high fidelity fusion onto, it looks like it's already running there. Let me see what I got going on here. Oh yeah, it's synchronizing the frames. So just 1 second, it's going to go ahead and initialize this. It's going to synchronize all these frames from my initial recording, which is right. This is essentially SLAM, right? Simultaneous localization and mapping. It's taking all of that information, it's running it through a fusion algorithm, and then it's going to process that mesh and synchronize all of those frames together and correlate them. And then once we get that done, we can run the reconstruct process here, which we're going to go ahead and get started. That's going to initialize this fusion reconstruct process of that spatialized environmental map that we just took. So that's what you can see here, is we can kind of move that one model around it a little bit. But now we can process it even further, and this is kind of the cool part, where you can take this model and you can move it around many different ways. But what we want to do now is colorize this. So we want to add about 1 millimeter colorization. So we're going to run that. It looks like we already have another task running. That is the finalization. So let's get that started. It'll finish. Finalization is done. So now we can colorize the model, and we're going to go ahead and colorize that down to, let's say, 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. And that's starting now, so we should see that come back up. And let's try that one more time. There we go. Now we're increasing this vertex resolution. Sorry about that. That's what always happens during real-time presentations. I love that when you're in front of 500 people and that happens to you. It's always a nice feeling. But you can kind of see this. This is very quick scan to resolution to output FBX or POI file again, and you can continue to render this pipeline, increasing the vertices and smoothing different pixelizations out, and move and crop different things out. But I always find this is really nice to see a nice full 3D volumetric capture, but also you can import this right into a virtual reality scene and start to create your environmental parameters without hiring a 3D artist. That's actually fascinating for people like me who can barely draw stick people. So I hope you guys like this little Skanect Pro initialization today. There was another application on here which I thought was really fascinating to show, but I'm going to save that for later. It was actually for somebody named Jacob who had asked about scanning body parts for prosthesis in Africa and various other developing nations in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new video just for you on that. And then, but for today, I just wanted to keep this simple. Hope you guys loved it. A happy Thanksgiving, by the way, and hope you have a wonderful weekend.